fun. I kind of like record. I've never done this before, like recording things back to back and just like generating content. This is fun. I'm like,
I like to do it just because, well, you probably know as an editor, I like to just have all these projects lined up, and I can go edit on one or pick and choose the order I want to go in, or
get the footage.
Hey, what is up, everyone? It is Bad Cuz Dad. Me, Tom. I'm here again with a special guest, Koltrane. Scotty is still out. I don't know what he's doing. Hopefully he makes his way back. But in the meantime, Koltrane is kind enough. He's coming in. He's helping us out on some content. And what's more perfect to talk with the WoW OG Koltrane about World of Warcraft, Emerald Dream, patch 10.2, Mr. Ahead of the Curve, Koltrane. Hey, what's been going on in patch 10.2 with you? What have you liked? What are you seeing, man?
Guess who's back? Back again. WoW is back. Tell a friend. Right? 10.2.
It is.
It's here.
It's
back. And so is everyone else. I mean, for those watching, have you noticed all your old raiders are coming back? All your old buddies are coming out. They're coming out of the floorboards. Everyone's returning to WoW because that BlizzCon announcement was unbelievable. Metzen set the stage. Everyone's coming back to WoW. New raid, new dungeons, new season. Everyone's losing their minds. And I obviously am one of them as well. So very excited about 10.2. So really, really jazzed, of course, to talk about it. Probably a little too jazzed. Probably, maybe I can bring it back a little bit.
It's not possible.
This is WoW.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
What has been the first big thing that stood out to you? I know you got a raid team. I know you're pushing keys. I know you're in the Emerald Dream doing the questing. What's one of the things that has been big for you and maybe getting back together with the guys?
Woo-wee! All right. So first off, the raid. The raid. Great raid. Fantastic raid.
Wow.
We ran it last night. It was our first night in. And on the first night on normal, we did a full clear.
Whoa.
We killed all the bosses. Yeah, we went
awesome.
9 for 9. Yeah, on the it was great. And it was one of those too where like we've got a lot of new people and a lot of new players, it's the first time like we're all kind of together, you know what I mean? So there's always that like first raid night jitters, like I hope this goes well and I hope everybody gets along and I hope we do well. But it's about having fun but also the loot and, getting along great and about the loot, and then trying to do everything we can to support each other while we get loot. You know what I mean? So the fact that we went 9 for 9 the first night was absolutely incredible.
That's cool. Yeah.
And it was awesome. And now I played horribly, but that's okay. You know what I mean? I'm going heals. I'm going Holy Paladin. Paladin. Now we got a little light, a little candle here for the H-Pals out there. Now, right now, Holy Paladin's not too happy heading into season 3. Now me, I'm a positive guy. Silver lining, right? Trying to find these new builds. Went to Elzamir Gaming, and he's got a new build. And Wowhead, they talk about it as well. This new way of playing Holy Paladin, and it works. It works. We just got to develop some new muscle memory here because now we've got some mana issues. We've got some other stuff. So I still played terribly, but that's all right. I had another group of healers I was healing that helped carry me and carry this team through to the end. I'd love to say it was all me, but I mean, come on, right? You look at the healing meters and, there's me and then everyone else. There's like a big
9 for 9.
gap.
You had to have been doing something right. Come on, 9 for 9. That's pretty good.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Yes. But the fights themselves, I think are fantastic. Gnarroot is the first boss in there. Very great intro boss. Some mechanics, some damage going out, but fun. Very easily accessible. You've got some nice kind of council fights in there. You've got a really goofy one where you actually get turned into a duck. And of course, and you're literally yelling quack, 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 quack.
They have to highlight the ducks in Dragonflight. Yeah, I see.
Yes, of course. And then, of course, everyone uses this as an excuse to be like, I'm completely ducked. Like what could
the
rhyme
puns
with
come
duck?
out. Yeah,
the puns like crazy.
Goodness.
Now, that's low-hanging fruit. I, of course, did not partake in the ducking of the ducks. Come on.
Too clever for that. Yeah.
They're ducking ducks, right? I'm ducked. But it's a really kind of a fun fight. Now Now Blizzard's still doing a bit of the, the green on green, right? Blizzard's got this little thing where like, well, let's make the floor purple, and then let's make the things you got to dodge purple as well, but a lighter shade of purple.
No.
So now they did that with green. They got a little bit of that going on.
No.
I'm guessing their art directors like, everything's got to match, guys. All right, like everything's got to match. But maybe so there's a little bit of that. But the fights there's actually one of the boss fights involves dragon riding. You actually fight the boss.
Super cool. Wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Now, the last time they did this was on Malagos back in the day. For those WoW raiders out there that remember the Malagos fight where you had to get on your flying mount, it was terrible. It was absolutely awful back in the day. And I applaud Blizz. They were trying something new, right? And then in the description, you're going to get on your mount and you're going to fly to this next area. And the crowd went nuts. They announced it at BlizzCon at the time. I think Scott, the guy Scott, I can't remember his last name, was the design encounter at the time. Everybody went nuts. But then when you actually played it, you're like, okay, this is terrible.
It's not working. Yeah.
The good news is with dragon riding, they fixed it and it's fantastic. Awesome. It's super fun. Basically, you fight this boss. He kind of phases out. Oh, you'll never get me, heroes. And then he takes off. And what do we do as heroes? We get on our flying mounts and we chase right after that guy. And you're doing the dragon riding and you're dodging the purple and the orange swirlies and you're getting the green ones, right? Because you speed boost.
That's so cool. Wow.
It is. And you're dodge, dip, diving, getting these green orbs, dodging the orange ones. And you have to get to this platform because the boss is sitting on a platform casting this shield. And he's got a shield on him. And he's casting this ability. You got to land, break that shield, and interrupt this ability in time, or else you wipe. He's going to just murder everybody. So you've got that kind of like, we got to go. So it's a really cool fight. And then the final boss for Rock is absolutely phenomenal. Blizzard really always delivers on these final boss fights. They always feel epic. They always feel big. They always feel huge. And they always do a great job. This is interesting. One of my favorite fights of all time is Wrath of the Lich King, is the actual Lich King fight. And I know people say, oh, everybody loved Lich King. But here's why. Is that in that fight, the healers, there was like this dot that got put on every single player. You had to heal everyone to full to get rid of that dot. So healers had a specific job to do. DPS, you've got your standard DPS. Tanks, they got to make sure that when these pools spawn, no one's in those pools because they're going to expand the pools. So everyone's got their own specific roles on top of doing the fight. They do the same thing here on Farak, which is great. They have these little NPCs. I mean, this isn't really spoiling it. These NPCs that are coming across. And as a healer, I have to heal these NPCs to full, also healing my raid team. When you heal them to full, they get a shield around them so they don't get destroyed by all the crazy fire and everything that's happening in the room. And they're just like walking along, like right across, like middle of the battlefield, So it's great coordination because your raid leader's like, kill the ads in the middle of the room. The NPCs are coming down the middle of the room. So you got to kill all the NPCs that are throwing all the fire and all the craziness so these NPCs can come and be safe. They can come through. Healers got to heal them up to full. They can be bubbled and they can pass through safely to continue doing what they need to do. And I won't spoil it for you, but it's awesome. It's awesome. So sorry, I'm geeking out here. I love raiding. I'm a big fan of it. So they really did an excellent job with the final boss again of just making the raid itself feel huge, feel epic. Now, here's the thing. It was 9 bosses. We cleared it the first night on normal. We're going to be stepping into heroic next week right away. There's been some talk. Go ahead.
I was going to say that seems is that normal to clear?
It's a little fast.
I was going to what is your thoughts on that? Is that is the difficulty lower?
My guess is, now again, we've got some really phenomenal players on this team, right? We got a great group of people. Okay. But my guess is it's tuned a little bit easier. Even right now, the world first is going on right now. The big competition, USA versus Europe, Team Liquid versus Team Echo and all these other big teams. And Maximum on Team Liquid was saying, we're going to get this thing licked in like 5-6 days.
Wow.
We're going to be done before Thanksgiving. So I'm thinking that Blizzard is making these raids easier than they used to be. And I think it's a very good thing.
You're okay with that? Yeah, that was
wonderful.
the next question.
Yes, I encourage it because hard boss fights, crazy hard, they're team killers. Anybody out there that has where these certain mechanics where one person gets chosen and they have to do this and they have the opportunity to wipe the group, what happens if there's, there's some people in the group that are stronger than others, and if one of your weaker players gets that ability and they wipe the group, what happens? That person feels terrible. The team is then upset with that person. It's just a double negative. You know what I mean? And when you have super complex boss encounters, even on normal, nobody likes to wipe every night and get killed over and over and over again, right? You want success, you want loot, you want to, high five each other. Like when we killed Farok last night, last poll magic, last poll of the night, right on the hour when we finish at 10 o'clock, and right at 10:01, we pull that boss and we got it. And everyone was screaming, yeah, cheering and going crazy. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
And it's an epic fight. It's an epic fight. They did a great job, but they made them easier. At least that's my impression. And I think that that's a very good thing because raids need to be accessible. They still need to have some challenge. Now, here's where you get the challenge. You make normal super easy. Great. You make heroic a little bit easier, still a bit of a challenge. But if people want the crazy, like gonna destroy your team, you got Mythic for that.
Right? You know what you're signing up for. Yeah, totally.
Exactly. You know what you're getting into. You need 20 people dedicated, ready to go. But you don't want these team killer fights. Excuse me. You don't want these team killer fights in normal. You know what I mean?
Do you think,
or the third or fourth boss?
Do you think 3 tiers is the sweet spot? Do you think normal, heroic, and then mythic? Is that working? You think that's the path forward?
It is working. I do wish they went back to 10-man mythic. Oh, those were the good old days. Oh, it felt so nice. I mean, ask anyone. Everyone loved 10-man mythic. They got rid of it because it was impossible to balance. And it just is. It just is. When you're doing that kind of complexity, that much damage is going out, trying to figure that out. When you've got only 10 people, you don't know what the raid comp is going to be.
That's tough.
How many healers, what characters, what cooldowns are they going to have? What are they going to have? If it's 20 and it's always 20 people, then it's so much easier for a developer to balance the encounter. And also, by the way, it makes it a better encounter for the players as well. You know what I mean? Because there was this weird thing in 10-man mythic where like there was a sweet spot. It was like the cutoff is after 13 players. So you want 13. You don't want 10, you want 13, but not 14. Because then it ramps up even more at 14. Yeah, exactly. So there was like all this weird stuff happening. As fun as it was having 10, 12, 13 people, it's a better game. It's a better game experience having 20. It's harder to get 20, but I think on a developer side, so it's better. So I think it is a good sweet spot.
That is awesome, and I will just say I am almost exclusively a PvPer, but it does make me want to see the raids. Like I like big, the spectacle of big boss fights is always super fun. Like when I'm in Guild Wars 2 when they have the world bosses, I really enjoy that kind of gameplay. And if I can get into the raids, I think I will. And I think the main reason why, and I think this is brilliant, I played at the launch of Dragonflight, and then I took a break, and now I'm coming back in 10.2. A lot of it, of course, had to do with BlizzCon and the hype and Metzen and the perfect storm kind of, and a lot of people were jumping back in. So, I jumped back in, and of course, I jumped straight into Battlegrounds. I was like, hey, I got to check out the Battlegrounds and see what's up. This is my bread and butter. And I was kind of really surprised. It seems like now you can get your honor gear very quickly. It seems like they're giving you honor. They're just handing it out, right? Everybody gets some honor. And so you get your honor gear, and there's also a PvE item level attached to it. And as you get more honor, you can upgrade that PvE item level. Now, I don't know how it will compare in the future to, obviously, I'm sure it won't be on the same level as other gear you'll get from drops in the raid. But it does make me think, hey, I can upgrade this gear and I can maybe check out normal mode,
Awesome.
or see some stuff. And so I am intrigued, you did a good job, Koltrane. I'm intrigued to see this last fight and kind of what's going on in the raids for the first time ever, really. And so that's going to be cool. Staying on PvP, my first thing that I've been really happy with, and the reason why I even play WoW, is the PvP. And if you've played PvP for a long time, and I think especially in the last couple of expansions, the PvP gearing has not always been the easiest to understand or to complete. And as a PvP player, we always we just want a PvP. And a lot of times it seems like in BFA and Shadowlands, you really had to go outside of PvP to gear up and to get all the necessary things to be competitive. And so it seems like they've made a little bit of a return to, hey, we know that a big part of our player base just want to jump in, do Battlegrounds, do Arena. And so I'm enjoying that. I'm able to get my gear. I'm able to gear up. And especially with alts, they did a brilliant thing. Now, let's say I've got my Demon Hunter maxed out, right? And I'm just getting honor and it's just sitting there capped. You can now buy a token and it is account bound, and you can send this token with 1,500 honor to your alts. And now, if you're capped already on a main and you want to bring an alt or boost an alt, or you get to max level, you can just send over a bunch of honor tokens and they're almost geared instantly, which is amazing. And so I told you earlier, I'm like, hey, I think I want to get like 4 or 5 alts going and play PvP, because for me, that's the fun is whenever I'm PvPing for a long time and it gets kind of stale, then I'm just like, hey, what other character can I play, and what kind of new lens can I view the game through, and new style of gameplay? And so,
well, let me ask you. Let's go through this here real quick.
Sure,
okay,
sure.
So we've got the Demon Hunter, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're loving that. That's your honor cap. You're doing Havoc, right?
Yep, I am.
What are your other goodies? What are you looking at here?
Oh man,
what are the characters?
I'm a sucker for stealth in all the games. I love it. So I did use my boost from the pre-order to get the rogue to max level, so I will be working on him next. Subtlety seems absolutely disgusting. I mean, mage rogue is always disgusting, so I know it's going to be good. I will be, and outlaw, actually, I'm kind of interested in outlaw. I've never played it before. It seems kind of interesting, and that might even be the PvE go-to. So maybe if I jump into some raids and stuff, maybe I'll have to check out some outlaw. And then the hunter was my first character, so I was one of those people, night elf hunter, out the gate from the trailer. So
was his name Legolas or something, some variation of Legolas?
XX Legolas XX. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, come on. We can all admit we all did it. Night Elf Hunter was all of our first characters back in the day. Come on.
And then I think I want to try something new, something I have never played before. I'm thinking maybe Shadow Priest. I've never. The Priest Mogs just always seem top tier to me, and so maybe that's why I'm leaning towards it. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to PvP in this patch, and me and you have even jumped into a little bit of PvP, Koltrane. What are your PvP aspirations for 10.2? Are you going to be jumping in and doing some PvP?
Yes, Tom. Okay. Also known as Tommy Gun. We did jump in and do a little PvP, and it was awesome. I gotta admit, you and I are the opposite here.
Yes.
All right. I'm PvE, you are PvP, right? You're sitting here hearing about these amazing boss fights against Farrak, this big dragon. I want to give that a shot. I'm hearing about these epic battlegrounds and not doing scripted fighting.
Right.
And how amazing does that sound, doing PvP, right? PvE, it's a script. It follows a script. Once you know the fight, you know the fight. You know what's going to happen. Oh, we're entering phase 2. You've also got these add-ons that tell you, approaching phase 2, he's at 60 energy. Here's what's going to happen. It's all a script. It's a dance, right? It's a dance.
Yep.
But in PvP, and I learned this the hard way when I jumped in with you, there's no script. There's no script. You know what I mean? It's you're fighting real players, real people. And the person that I could not stand was the rogue. And the fact that you're now going to be that rogue, Tom, are you insane? You're gonna be that guy.
I can help you
All
out.
right?
I can peel the other rogues off of you. I can
I'm
do
gonna
my
go.
job. I can see
I'm gonna
what
be
I
in a
can do.
Wrathy Basin. I'm gonna see
Yeah.
the flag and be like, "Oh, there's nobody here. Everything's great." And then I'm gonna hear that
Yeah.
that stealth sound, and then I'm gonna get sapped for 40 seconds and just sit there like a moron for 40 seconds while his buddies show up and then gank me. That's gonna be you. You're gonna be that guy. Are you gonna be able to live with yourself doing that?
Oh, I love it. It's like
Oh,
top tier gameplay. You love to see
right.
it. Yeah.
Yes. I
Rogue
can
is
hear it in
peak.
your voice. Listen to you.
Yes.
Look at you. My gosh. You're ecstatic. You're
Uh,
that guy. So
yeah.
it was great. So yeah, Tom and I, we did some battlegrounds
Yeah.
and we jumped in there. I got honor capped and I'm getting the PvP gear now, which I love. Like you said, I can use it in PvE, but then it bumps way up for PvP for the battlegrounds.
Yeah.
And then you can start to get some conquest stuff. So it was an absolute blast for me, man. And as you know, I was grinding that honor almost every single night.
Yeah.
You and I were talking like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing battlegrounds, man.
And
you got me hooked.
The great thing is I love when MMOs do this. And for a long time, it wasn't like this. For a long time, everything was very segmented, as far as, they used to have the PvP stat on the PvP gear and all of that. But I love what they've done with PvP now, where your gear, when you get your first honor gear, the PvP item level is capped. You have the highest that you can get, and it's great. So you if you're doing raids like you are, you don't have to constantly grind both. You can just jump into PvP and still be strong. And then, you'll move to the conquest gear, and that will bump your item level. But again, that will be capped. You won't have to keep grinding forever to get the best PvP gear. So I love when they do that. I like when they try to help cross-pollinate and get people to try different aspects of the game, because there's so much good content in MMOs, especially WoW. And so I'm really liking that.
And with the cap on the gear too, because PvP is about player skill.
Correct.
It's about player versus player, not player versus environment.
Or player versus gear, which it sometimes can be. Yes.
Absolutely. So if everyone's capped, then it's about a skill level thing. You know what I mean? When I go up against, a rogue and they sap me for 45 seconds. Yeah. So thank you for that. That's going to be wonderful.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm glad you're jumping in. And like I said, hopefully I can jump into some raids and stuff and see that as well. What's next on your list, Koltrane? What else has you excited about this season or some of the other stuff going on? Is there anything?
There is, man. And it's the Mythic Plus. It's the keys. It's the keys. Now, here's the thing. So I haven't really been a key guy, Mythic Plus guy. So I'm really kind of diving into it. I mean, I haven't gotten the Keystone Master stuff. Now, when I
ask you real quick?
Sure.
Are the raiders and the guys who push keys, is that kind of like two separate groups? Or is there some crossover there? Or sometimes if you're a raider, I'm a raider. Kind of thing.
There's definite crossover, because what you do is you raid and you get some loot, right? But you're only going to get like one, maybe two pieces. You do keys in between to fill in the gaps.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to run. And what's great about Mythic Plus is, Mythic Plus is actually pretty great if you think about it, because it's repeatable content. There's no lockout. If there's an item that you want out of like Dark Heart Thicket, which is one of the new dungeons. Okay. If these bracers drop and they're your best in slot, you can just run this dungeon over and over and over again until you get it. Then you've got it. You're good to go. You can build that set. You can fill in those gaps. Oh, I need a cape. I need some boots. I need some shoulders. And they've also got this this token thing or cataclysm or something. I'm forgetting the name. Forgive me. Or you can turn a regular piece of gear into a piece of tier gear. So that's another incentive, right? So when I was running these keys, some of these higher numbered keys, the Mythic Plus, I get some shoulders. I'd bump up that item level because I know that I'm going to use the catalyst thing on it. And those are now going to become tier shoulders. And the tier shoulders don't drop to like one of the near final bosses in the raid. So it's kind of a nice thing that you can get that tier bonus.
Fill in your set.
You don't have to do the raid. Yeah. Fill in your set. And also you don't have to do the raid for it. So but there are people that just do Mythic Plus. Okay. In fact, there's a raider that I raid with. This guy named Kralumian. And he prefers Mythic Plus over raids.
Okay.
And the way he worded it to me, he goes, well, listen, man, it's like little bite-sized raids, right? It's this little piece of content. They only take about 20, 30 minutes. I only have to do it with 5 people. I don't have to get, 20 or something. Yep. I can choose what kind of difficulty I want, right? Because I can ramp it up if I want, more boss health, more this, I could ramp up the difficulty. And it also, the seasonal, the things, they change every week. You know what I mean? As far as like, sometimes the boss has more health, sometimes the trash has more health.
Yeah, all the stuff they have on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So he's like, it's my choice, and I can run them over and over. I can do as much or as little as I want, and he can get raid equivalent
really good gear. Yeah.
Extremely great gear, just doing Mythic Plus. So he's a big fan of it. So he's been dragging me through, which has been awesome. So I've actually really been enjoying the Mythic Plus in the dungeons. It's all about confidence, because you're going to be nervous. You're going to stand in there like, oh, everyone's looking at me, whatever. Like, I hope this goes well. I don't want to screw this up. You're going to be fine. You got to remember that everyone's screwing up. Everyone's just as nervous and just as scared as you are. Sure, you've got the people that are like, what are you doing? Come on, blah, blah, blah. But that's just, they're having a rough day. It's okay. They're going to be better tomorrow. They're just having a rough day that day, But I've really enjoyed the new Mythic dungeon.
Seems like the great things about them too is they're kind of rotating some of the older dungeons back in and putting a Mythic twist on them. Is that, am I remembering right? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, they updated them. They took like Throne of the Tides, was a classic dungeon that everybody loved back in the day. They've reintegrated it, but now they've fixed it. They've changed the final boss. It's kind of a brand new kind of a boss fight now. They got rid of the elevator, which is great. The elevator, it was super fun back in the day, but that thing took forever. And we can all attest to it. Waiting for that elevator, like, come on. But when you do it as a Mythic Plus and you've got 30 minutes to clear this plus 12, plus 13, you got to move. They got rid of it, which is great. So it's kind of a fun way of bringing back old favorite dungeons, reimagining them. They're actually also doing that with the raids as well.
Okay.
Now, I don't know as much about it because I've never done it. I didn't do this with the last expansion, but they're called like faded raids or something like that.
Okay.
And it's supposed to come after this raid tier. So we've got this current raid in Mildrasil or whatever it's called. And they're going to do these faded raids. And as far as I know, it's going to drop good gear, but it's like all the old raids from the expansion, but they've added affixes to them, like you're saying.
Raids like from the current expansion, like the ones. Okay.
Yes.
I see.
And they cycle in and out like every week. It's like a different raid, but they've also added affixes. If I'm incorrect, please correct me in the comments, because I've never actually done it. But it's funny. The faded raids, it's so funny. You talk to raiders and they're like, oh, faded raids, that sounds terrible. And I'm like, well, did you try it? Well, no. And then when I'd say to somebody, hey, faded raids, did you try those? Yeah. What'd you think? Oh, it was great. Super fun. So I think it's one of those that if you actually do it, it's actually a lot of fun.
It sounds like the Mythic Plus style for raids. Like you said, if you can add affixes and switch it up and make it fresh, that actually sounds like a cool concept, especially after 10.2. If there's not going to be another raid tier coming after this, then it just makes perfect sense, right? To keep raiders happy and to have a little bit of fresh content. Yeah, totally.
But people get upset because I think, the optics of it, right?
Sure,
well, there's not going to be another raid tier, so instead they're just going to kind of recycle the old raids. So like from the optics of it, I understand when people are like, what is this? Blah, blah, blah. But actually try it, and they actually love it, when you try it. Now, I'm not saying that goes for everybody, right? There's people out there watching this right now going, I tried faded raids and I hated it. But there's a lot of people that I talked to that said it was actually a lot of fun. It's kind of cool. Yeah. So I'm actually going to give that a shot this time. I'm really looking forward to the faded raid. But right now, finish normal. We're going to start up heroic next week and dive into heroic. The goal for this team has always been ahead of the curve, AOTC. But I mean, that's going to come quick we might look into getting into Mythic,
Interesting.
for this one night a week team, which would be super fun to do. I used to raid Mythic back in the day,
Yeah.
back before, I was married and had more
You
time,
had time. Yeah, totally.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Right. Except bad because dad. I mean, come on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's be real here. So should be fun.
That's cool. Where you're talking about, hey, don't be scared in the pugs. Everybody's messing up. Well, you know what helps alleviate some of that? If you have a full group to go in with, and you're not worried, you're bagging on everybody when someone messes up. It's actually way fun. And the great thing is this is my final thing. We've actually had a lot of guys, friends of the channel, guys in the Discord, jumping into WoW 10.2. The Metzen effect is real.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still a year away from the expansion or close to it. You know what I mean? And everyone jumped in. And so, you mentioned the other day, hey, after I do my raid, let's try to get some guys into keys and we'll run some stuff. And we have a big enough group that's come back to WoW there's some guys who haven't played WoW since 2008. We're talking years and years of people who have been away kind of after the Cataclysm, kind of different expansions. And so what an effect Metzen has had, but also what an effect. WoW they're hitting the right notes. It's music to our ears. They are doing the things that some players have been asking for a long time. They're cutting out some of the unnecessary grinds and the pain points, for gearing or for raiding or for Mythic or these other quality of life things that players have just been asking for so long. And it looks like they're finally doing some of this. And even some of it is goodwill of just the announcement of War Within and some of the cool things that are coming. I'm like, you know what? I think I'll jump in now. And I just want to see what the game's about. I want to get caught up on the story leading up to this expansion that seems like it's going to be really great. And so for me, just having that, because I always come back and play WoW during a new expansion because I'm that weird guy who I'll play every MMO when it launches. I want to see everything. What are all the MMOs doing, especially running the channel? I want to be knowledgeable about talking about things. But so with WoW, if a big patch or something comes out, I jump in, I play, and usually it's really good, but usually I'm playing solo. And so I can only do that for so long where I'm like, you know what, the PvP has been really great, but a lot of my friends are playing this game. And so there's a pull to that. But with this, just a lot of people have come back to the game. The Valdrakken is crazy crowded. The battleground queues, arena queues are way short compared to what they have been in the past when I've jumped into Dragonflight. I think the effect is real. You're mentioning your raid team. What's your experience been like? Do you see sort of a revitalization or a revival going on at this point, Koltrane?
Huge, man. Huge. I even said at the beginning of this video, it's like, come on, you all feel it. All your old buddies, they're all coming back. Everyone's coming back to WoW. You know what I mean? And it's true with this group as well. And it's been super fun doing battlegrounds with you, with the guys, with running, and like we were talking about, let's have a dungeon night. Maybe we could just do some dungeons, do some PvP. That's an amazing thing. And also for those out there that are nervous about jumping in, I would actually do a search on some of the WoW forums. Type in like friendly, noob friendly community or friendly community or something like that. There's so many communities that you don't have to be on their server, but you can join their community. And I'm in a couple of communities. I'm in this late night one, and they're always like, hey, looking for people for like a +2 Mythic dungeon. A +2 is not that bad. You know what I mean? Where you can make mistakes and everyone's okay with it. It's not like right now, like a +15 or a +18, which is crazy. A +2, no big deal. +3, it's just good ways. I'm just saying that if you don't have the social side as much, join one of these communities. You'll gain friends that way, and then you'll be able to run this stuff. Because you're absolutely right, man. When you're in there with your buddies, and like you said, you're giving each other crap. You know what I mean? About, oh, nice pull. Like, hey, why don't you pull the whole room, Tank? Great job. Great heals, Colt. I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's just a whole nother level. And even with the raid team, when we killed Farak and everyone screamed, You know what I mean? It sounded like a world first kill. You know, it sounded like Team Liquid or something.
Right, right.
You know, let's go. You know, everyone going nuts. So the social aspect, I mean, wow. BlizzCon, man. Wow. And they had to do it, man. They stepped up to the plate, and it was do or die. And they knocked it out of the park, you know, and even wild podcasts like The Instance, Scott Johnson's talking about bringing back The Instance. Amazing. You know, that was a staple of World of Warcraft podcasts back in the day. And all he did was post the logo. And it got like 20,000 likes. Everyone's like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? After the BlizzCon announcement, because everyone's coming back. That hype is back. And boy, I think Blizzard, man, they really nailed it. Everyone talks about Metzen amazing, but also Ian Hazacostas, I really think did a phenomenal job. He's always great. He's super comfortable. He's very knowledgeable. He gets into the details, the aspects of it, and you know, frankly, it's a skill issue. Sorry, that's a little meme of Ian Hazacostas there. Sorry. So yeah, the social aspect is huge, and everyone is coming back, and WoW is alive. WoW is back. WoW will remain king, I think, forever.
You're right. The trajectory for a while did not look good, and so I think the ripple effects of this BlizzCon is going to definitely carry into the next expansion, probably all the way through the World Soul Saga. And like you're saying, it's not only Metzen. They're doing great stuff. I know I watched the Preach and Ian interview recently. You know, and Ian just said, look, we had a philosophy when we first made this game, and it's just taken us some time to let go of some of those initial philosophies and move into this modern style of development. And really, at the end of the day, he's just like, hey, we want to respect players' time. And so is WoW going to be perfect? Of course not, but that's all we're asking for at the end of the day. Especially guys like us, we're working all the time. We have kiddos. We're just like, hey, when we log into WoW, we want it to be meaningful. We want to feel like our $15 a month is going to something. And as of right now, I feel totally great putting my $15 down and jumping in and doing the content. And so, man, 10.2, awesome. Loving it so far. And we're going to have some more content. We want to get into some more stuff. And we'll have Koltrane. We'll have you back on the channel to talk about some more stuff as we go with 10.2 and with Scotty and all the guys. And so, everyone, thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you to Koltrane. And leave us some comments below. Hey, what are you guys thinking about 10.2? You loving it like we are? Jump in the Discord. I'll leave the link down there. Run some Mythics with us. Do some BGs or just talk about the game. We'd love to have you guys on board. So, for us at Bad 'Cause Dad, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys in the next one.